We are right back at you on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Wherever you're watching and listening, Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus from 4 to 6 p.m. We're glad you are aboard. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jen Rolnick for the next 2 hours. Toronto Maple Leafs may have fallen to the New York Islanders in overtime, but John Tavares stood tall last night, scoring his 1,000th point, only the 98th player in history to do it against his former team to boot.
Yeah, he did the thing.
Didn't start off great for any one of them, including John Tavares, but man, did he kick it in the back half of the game.
Yeah, I was glad to see him get it
So
done.
nice that we didn't start it with Ohtani. I thought for sure. We were talking about it upstairs, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do this today."
No, listen.
And I thought for sure the first thing you'd be like, "How about that contract?
No.
He's making $2 a year for 100 million years. It's great."
For what John Tavares went through last night,
Yes.
there's not a chance
Thank
I'm
God.
starting the show
Thank God.
with Ohtani
Thank
over
God.
the captain of the Toronto Maple
Thank
Leafs
God.
today.
No,
Thank
it was great. First off, very good hockey game last night from an entertainment standpoint. I thought Islanders fast, Leafs looked pretty good. I enjoyed the game. Everyone, no?
Oh, gosh. I saw sloppy.
Well,
Sloppy entertaining?
entertainment value. If from a
I'm with
coaching
you on
aspect,
that.
maybe not.
I'm with you on that.
There's action, there's turnovers,
Yes.
there's chances, there's, a little sloppy, but I thought a fun game to watch, a lot of
Okay.
energy and pace.
I'm with you on that.
For Tavares, obviously the talking point from the night. Everyone kind of got what they wanted out of the night. Obviously, the Leafs wanted 2 points, but John hits his milestone on Long Island. The Leafs get a point out of a game where they're trailing by a couple goals. Islanders fans get to stomp out the Flame in overtime after they cleared the benches 9 seconds earlier. Highly entertaining night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the reception for Tavares, I thought all of that was awesome. I respect a grudge. I really do. And they did not waver.
No, they stuck to their guns.
They put up that and hey, we mentioned it. We talked about it yesterday if they would do it or not.
Yeah.
And a huge kudos to the Islanders for the classy gesture. I mean, he did get how many? He get 600 and something points with them.
69 on Long Island. Yeah.
Kudos to them for doing that. But the boos were deafening when it was up there, and they did just blow a lead with 4 seconds left in the game, so they're probably sour about that. So it was pretty good, I thought.
Just to follow up what you just said, Sammy, in about half an hour, we're going to have Arthur Staple, New York City hockey columnist, covers the Rangers and the Isles for The Athletic.
Who wrote an article called What Everyone Doesn't Get About Islanders Fans Booing John Tavares.
Yeah, and I'm going to go after him a little bit on this one.
Oh, boy.
Stay tuned.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because prior to last night, I'm with Sammy a little bit here. You pay your $200, you can boo, that's fine. But I'm leaning towards watching last night going, okay, enough already.
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked by that take.
Yeah.
This is a zag.
No, it's not a zag.
Really?
It's not a zag. It's okay to boo.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm watching kind of like the human aspect of it. I thought it was great television watching John's dad.
Oh,
Okay.
just like a stoic roofer
So
having
Okay?
a moment.
I think it got me.
Yeah.
It got me.
Did it?
it was
a
hilarious.
dad and his
Did you tear
son.
up?
Full circle moment. The guy spends 9 unbelievable years there. He gets his first point as a New York Islander, and then he caps off 1,000 there.
In that building. Yeah.
And I'm watching a dad in the stands with that emotion, that passion. You know what else I saw? I saw a dad wearing a jacket over his jersey because he was too scared to show that his jersey had 91 and Tavares on the back.
No way.
No,
hold on.
No.
That's not why. He's
it is
cold.
why.
You
It
think
is
so?
why. No, I know so.
He doesn't want to hear it from people there that he's.
It's not. It's beyond hearing. He's got to walk into a suite. He's got to go through. He's not. You think he's going to wear a Tavares Leaf jersey through the corridor to get up to the suite and not fear a little bit for his safety?
So I don't think you're wrong. He's in the suite at that point, right? But you think that's why it's there? I mean, it's a good point. I wouldn't want to wear at least 91 through there. No way.
Thank you.
I thought he had his jacket on because he was going to rip out of there for a dart as soon as the game ended.
Listen, it's okay to boo, but when you start feeling like you're nervous or you're worried about your safety, that's where I draw the line.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if that's why he's got the jacket on, then I think that's a fair point. It's interesting to hear you say that about, are they ready? Is it gone on long enough?
6 years.
But Arthur's point in his article, which we're going to get to today, and we'll talk more about it, is that we don't get it here in Toronto. And he'll tell us why.
We should get it. We love to boo people here. We live to boo people here. We booed Ryan O'Reilly the other night. He was here for a week.
You can't even compare that or anything else to what John's gone through every year since he's returned there. It's not even close. It's not even close, Sammy.
I guess you're looking at it from a player's perspective, and I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective. It's two completely different things. Watching the game last night, I didn't love it that they were still booing him. Of course I don't love it, but I completely understand it, and I would be doing the same thing, so I can't sit here and lie. I've made the point. They're booing him. They deserve to boo him. They can do whatever they want.
But
they hate him.
There's an intimidating factor that's gone beyond just the booing.
Do you think it's a forever thing?
Yes.
You'd never...
No.
What he did was not that egregious. I mean, geez, Louise, he went somewhere else as a free agent.
I know, and that's my first thought. And then I read Arthur's article, and then he reminded people that John probably painted a picture of...
They wanted to trade him.
I will stay. Don't trade me. I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
And that's the sore spot.
For sure,
correct?
It's the sore spot. For sure.
And
a very similar situation with Matt Sundin here, where they were wanting to trade him at the deadline. They were floating around the playoff line at the trade deadline. There was rumors that they were going to trade him. He said he just wasn't going to waive his no trade. He didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to see it through. And then the next year he didn't sign here, and people felt badly about it.
And people love Matt's here.
Now, yeah.
Do you think
and he's welcome back, and he can walk to center ice and hold his head up high.
Yep.
To this day, we still see Sundin jerseys in the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Where is John Tavares 10 years from now? Do you envision him walking out at center ice and getting a warm reception?
I think it's
because after 6 years, I say no.
I think something has to happen. I think
what? No way.
That's a good drop. He might have to. There might have to be some sort of public reconciliation.
Oh my God. That's just over the top now.
I know. It does seem over the top.
It's just ridiculous.
First off, great goal. His third goal in Long Island now, right? Through the legs tip.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Really nice.
He went
really
there and
nice.
Play well.
Really nice.
And then, cheeky.
So stick around for Arthur Staples, because we got some tough questions to ask him.
Oh, I'm regretting this every minute.
That's great.
Good get today off his article, Sammy.
Hey, Arthur, you want to come on and tee up the Rangers game tonight?
How are you?
Sharpening his knife.
All right, let's jump right into our first Kyper's Clipper of the night on John Tavares from Sheldon Keefe.
I don't think I could put it into words. I can't. It's hard to fathom even just having a son play in the NHL, let alone be the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs and get 1,000 points, and still going to play in the league a long time. So it's pretty special, pretty remarkable, and like I said, it's I'm glad that we could have this moment here with him, and it was good to see. He's got a lot of former teammates on the other side. They got a chance to acknowledge him as well. I thought that was very respectful and well done of the Islanders organization, and it was good all the way around. And like I said, wish we could have had the second point there. We had our opportunity, and they had theirs, and that's the way it goes. But it's another good point for us.
So, No, it worked. We've got a couple of those clips, so we're good there, Derek. As far as doing the right thing, the Islanders acknowledged it, which was great.
Yep, some guys banging on the boards from the Islanders bench.
What it probably felt like was the timing could have been better to let it breathe a little bit. It just seemed incredibly rushed going into 3-on-3.
Yeah, well, it's like
my exact thoughts.
yeah,
Like it
too
just
bad that
because it was the elation of tying the game, right? Where Riley's like, "Holy crap, the puck landed on my stick in the perfect spot," and then the realization while he's coming around, then he's like, "Oh my god, that bounced off John," and then everybody kind of figuring out that that's what was happening. Then everybody coming off
it's
the
a late
bench.
start to the
It
celebration.
was like, oh, everyone comes off the bench. It was like, oh my god, it's 3-on-3 overtime right now, and oh my god, 2-on-1, bing, bar down. It
Yeah.
happened so fast.
It's almost like when Tavares scored the overtime winner to win round 1, and then round 2 was over. You know, it was that like, you know, you didn't get time to appreciate the great thing that happened because so quickly you're on to the next thing, and then it got away from you. It's a little bit of a metaphor for great moments for John.
Last week, I think you were the first one, Sammy, to mention that if he doesn't get it Thursday or Saturday, it's setting up for 1,000 at the Island.
Yeah, Sammy called it 4 games
And
ago.
yeah, I was sniffing around it.
yeah, I'm just wondering, like, I think it could have been a better moment without all the booing. Would he have much preferred it to happen in Toronto where it could have been much?
I don't think so.
No,
No.
you think
I don't think
you
so.
think John was
I actually
okay
think
with
it
it?
might be the
If he had a
start.
choice,
It might be the start of defrosting some of the tension with Long Island. We're going to have Arthur on today. We're going to talk about it. It's like, can we work through this breakup here?
You're
like,
such
we're
a
gonna
positive
We're going to
guy.
be the marital counselors and be like, let's just sit down and really think about how this is. We're going to work through it here together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the situation and how it all played out, and it happened fast. But, you know, John Tavares is legitimately the most professional human on earth. Like, there is not, he talks to media every day for 5 minutes for 5 years, and he's literally never said one thing wrong. It's really amazing. Like, truly.
right.
well,
All right. He said nothing.
yeah.
For 5 years straight, 5 minutes every day talking to all these people and never said anything out of turn. It's amazing. It truly is. But there's no way the treatment there doesn't piss him off. Like, there's no way he's not talking to his dad after, talking to his wife, talking to his friends, being like, you know, that
Enough
it does,
already.
It does
Enough.
hurt. It
Enough.
does hurt.
Yeah.
And for him to have that moment there, he can rest his head on the pillow and be like, oh, obviously that was a great honor to his wife, and be very happy.
I thought the first 25 minutes,
Tremendous honor.
Thank
I
you.
thought for the first 20 minutes, it looked like it was affecting him. Like the guy steps on the
He
ice.
always does
He's
when it's
not
there.
He doesn't even have to have the puck. He just steps on the ice, and it's just a rain of booze.
Yeah.
Like that must suck.
Love those people are committed.
But-
you know, the Islanders fans are not.
He'd
they're
want
no joke.
He's not a villain. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the personality, boys, to be like, I'm a villain, I'm going to go in there. He's not going to like shush the crowd.
He's not thriving.
He's not that kind of guy.
Off of it.
Of course. So, but I think he'd be happy to get that moment there. And he would do a huge thing on Thursday for him. They'll like 1,000 points. He'll get a standing ovation. Like, they'll do the whole thing when they get back here.
Yes.
But it's just not the same as getting it on the ice, I guess.
So let's have a quick. Are we good on that?
We're good.
Well, on
Well,
game.
just one other thing.
yeah. Let's
One
let's
other
have
thing,
it,
because
let's
you
have it.
mentioned this in our the one time that we did speak to each other before
I
our
enjoyed
show.
that. It was nice.
And it's been well noted in the internet about Paul Marner's reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a large topic in group text
It's
today.
a large topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I got texted a lot about Corey Perry. I got texted a lot about Paul
Do
Martin's
people-
reaction.
People care.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they think he's not celebrating. He
Okay,
doesn't
so
care
they're
about
gonna-
the
they're-
team's
they're gonna
fortune because
read-
Mitch didn't get the point or get
They
involved.
are reading into something that they're just guessing on.
100%.
And I don't know what happened. I don't know what he's reacting to. I don't even know what he might be paying attention to something
He
totally
might have dropped mustard
different.
on his shoe.
Something.
That very
He
moment.
could have been watching a fight in the. We
Yeah.
don't know. Yet people want to link this to the fact that his son didn't play an integral part of the play. Therefore,
Can't be happy.
Not happy. It's
It is-
ridiculous. I find it ridiculous.
I mean, maybe he's just like an older grumpy guy. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe there's no concept. Like, he's just I don't know. Like, I know older guys that are just kind of grumpy sometimes. I talk to my dad enough. Like, they can just be grumpy. You know?
Yeah.
Like you, Kippy, once in a while.
Really,
Well,
like,
it's just
there's just anything that people need to grab.
Yeah, I mean, I got, messages and different chats and stuff just being like, what do you make of this? And it's like,
Nothing. I make nothing out of it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but it is, I would say, depending on how people feel about Mitch, they will extrapolate that to make it about Mitch or Mitch's family or whatever.
And there is a CBC thing on the internet of him when Mitch was a kid, and there's all this preconceived notion, but you don't actually know. Unless you're friends with Mitch Marner, unless you're in his fit, you don't actually know. So it's hard to speculate on this. So there's a preconceived notion out there about Paul Marner. We don't need to get into it. I'm just saying, like, that paired with what people think about him, seeing that video.
I think you're making a very good point.
There it is.
Excellent point by you, Sammy. Just reiterate for anybody that does social media, do not speculate. What's left?
Apparently, that can come back to bite people.
No comment.
You're shutting down the whole internet if people get. They won't know what to do, Sammy, if they believe you, to don't speculate.
I would never speculate on anything, guys. That's not me.
No.
Okay. An overall view of the game outside of John Tavares' contribution last night was that they continue to build off a Saturday night, or last night looked more like probably 70% of the games we've watched this year from them, because I lean towards the latter.
I thought Islanders had a lot of pace in the first period. I think high danger chances in the first period were something like 10-3 for the Islanders. So it was, they were on their heels and made some mistakes, but Marner had two sort of pseudo breakaways to start the game. Islanders making some mistakes too. And then over the course of the game from then on, I thought the Leafs were pretty darn good. They took over, I thought, the last two periods. They controlled. The one thing, I guess, that I was really impressed at, which we haven't seen from them, they seem to have the puck in the offensive zone a lot. I think they had 6.5 minutes of actual O-zone puck possession 5-on-5 time, which is a lot for them.
There was a lull for the Leafs from maybe the 10-minute mark in the first period until the 10-minute mark of the second period, and they got the goals scored on them in that part of the game. To me, they were good the rest of the time, but that was kind of a killer.
When they get hemmed in their own zone, it lasts a lot longer than what we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, they don't kill plays as well. Benoit, I think, does a good job at that, but some guys just kind of chasing the puck. It's a very puck-focused team, I feel like. And offensive zone, they take a lot of chances with the puck, I feel like, trying to make plays into the middle. So
that's a personnel thing. You think about who used to be in the bottom six.
Yeah.
Right? It was a lot more defensive-minded
guys like
guys.
Hall, and you usually have Gio in.
And Kerfoot and Zach Aston Reese and guys.
Let's go to Sheldon Keefe on his overview of the game, clip 2.
I thought we were at times really good, at times on our heels. Credit to the Islanders. I thought they played very well tonight. They made life really hard on us. It was a difficult task to get out of our end in that first period especially. Breaking out was a real challenge for us against their forecheck pressure. I thought the second period, we were fine. I thought through most of the third period we were good. It was just hard. It was hard to get things to the net. But our 6-on-5 was terrific. We probably should have scored far earlier than we did. When you hang around like that in the game, and then the 6-on-5 goes out and performs the way that it did, just like our power play, we only had one power play, and it comes through for us. So the refs were letting lots go both ways here in the game, so you kind of waited for your chance in 6-on-5, and the guys came through.
And again, credit Tavares. Did he win 3 draws in a row? 4?
Clutch face-offs against a good face-off guy in Pajot.
Cleaned them out.
Yeah.
Snapshots back to the blue line.
Our hockey puck. Yeah, that was pivotal for sure.
And it's funny, the power play thing. And we never really talk about refs on this show, which is one of my favorite things about all of us. We never really whine or talk about refs.
Never a ref show.
I love the standard when it's 1 penalty each.
Yeah.
Just let them, unless it's egregious, and I didn't feel like anything was egregious last night, just let it go. Just such a better flow to the game than when you're calling a million penalties, one team shorthanded. Thought it was a good standard last night. So
yeah, agreed.
I thought at times part of the the issue is when the Leafs don't get out cleanly, it's the lack of depth on the blue line.
Yeah.
And I think it showed a little bit last night. I don't know how many minutes Connor Timmins played last night, but
Many.
I think he scares a few people back there.
I will say, there's two parts to being like an offensive player when you're a defenseman. One is knowing where the most dangerous place to move the puck is for your team offensively, like knowing where, having that offensive sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part is the risk assessment
Yes.
of what are the odds of me making that play. Timmins has a Erik Karlsson-like ability to know where to get the puck to the most dangerous place. He knows where it is. Zero ability to assess said risk. He just takes the chance. So he turns pucks over and he creates a lot for both teams.
He was 18 minutes last night.
Yeah. So like he moves it to great places, but he moves it there for the other team when there's people in the way. So it's just this huge high event risk guy. And it's never going to be different than that. This is who he is. People are like, yeah, he's, since his injury, he's been this guy.
And you talk about one of the favorite things to say about players is like you give and take. It just feels like it's a lot more a take. Like I know, what does he probably have? I think I saw somewhere that he has 17 points in his however many 30-something games he's played. Like he does produce.
Yeah.
But he also produces, like what does he have points for the other team?
Yeah.
It just, he really, that you laid it out perfectly. Like the risk assessment with him, it just, he's playing way too much.
Yes, but they got no one.
And you just notice him. He's always, like you feel like he's coming back on the play so much. Like you see the back of his jersey all the time. It's just, he's not a aesthetically pleasing guy.
No.
I'm under the impression that Liljegren's day-to-day. And
Okay.
there could be a chance he could play tonight.
No. He's that close?
I think he's close.
Oh.
I do. Yeah, he's been skating.
That would go a long way for them.
Wouldn't surprise me if he was pretty close, if we see 7D tonight.
Just to see if he can kind of feel
If you got to ease his way in.
Yeah, if all of a sudden it's like, I'm not ready, then you still get
if he's not ready, then you're still covered a little bit. And that
Rangers
would
got
probably
anyone that requires Reeves?
No. Reeves, to me, would be a healthy scratch after last night.
He was fine last night.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Uneventful showing.
The puck didn't go in.
He had one slapper shot.
It would go a long way to get Liljegren back in the lineup. So
one thing that was different last night, and for a couple games in a row now here, Matthews really coming on here. Like he had 11 shot attempts, I think, last night. Goal, 2 crossbars.
Now, did you tell me that did Sheldon make a comment about him working harder?
We have a comment.
Okay,
I
want to hear it.
Yep. Clip 6.
I think Austin has changed the dynamic for Austin. I think he's just playing with way more authority, shooting the puck with way more. I think that's really it. I mean, William, no matter where he plays, is going to do his thing, but I really think Austin has just really decided that he's just going to be more assertive in his play offensively, and I think that's really what we've seen. I thought they were even in the first period last night. I thought they were a real bright spot for us that kind of got us going. But yeah, I think just the way that Austin's on his toes more, he's attacking the net, he's shooting the puck, he's working to get it back. That's really where I think Austin comes to life.
See, he could have saved us 30 seconds by just saying he's working harder.
Yeah, he says Austin changed the dynamic for Austin, and Austin decided. He said the word decided, which is like it's within his control.
Without a doubt, a greater sense of urgency in his game.
Yeah, I always maintain that he is his best when you see him trundling up through the neutral zone, when he's flying, using his speed, and it seems like he's skating again, which is
going north hard.
Yeah. Tough guy to control when he does. He's so good on the puck, on loose puck, such a strong stick.
So then where are we at on Marner? Because it feels like it's going the opposite way.
About that. So someone, I think it was Kevin Papetti, had like a tweet with Marner's last 10 games of expected goals, and he's been below 50% in 9 of the 10, and the one he was like 50%. It's not like he's had
some
couple good games, right? He had a hat-trick game.
Some good clear-cut chances.
Yeah. After the two breakaways last night, I didn't.
But not much in between, right?
He's the guy that you on this show for years have been calling the engine.
Yeah.
And, does not seem like.
And correctly so. for a lot of time.
Yeah,
like
when
when he's on, he can really drive it.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
So right now
Is
he's
there
at
less
about a point per game.
chemistry between 91 and 16?
Could be, but it was kind of the same when he was with 34 before. So at some point, you want to see him make people better if he's the engine. You know, you want to see him drive that play for them. And so to me, he's just been a guy that's been below the standard so far of what you would have for him. If he's a 85-point guy this year, you know, the Leafs aren't going to call that a successful season from him.
Did you pick up anything off of Keith talking about defensive pairs that might suggest that we're going to have a different look tonight?
I did.
Okay, let's go to clip 5.
The way the first period went, we were having a real hard time getting the puck moving out of our zone. So just trying to mix things up a little bit there. It'll be more of the same here tonight. We're still at this point unsure what our lineup will look like. Quite honestly, both on forward and defense, we've got some guys a little banged up, some new guys sick. So we've got some things to manage here today that we'll sort through the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, that's the controlled exits for the Leafs in the first period. They were at 75%. So like a quarter of the time they tried to break the puck out, they couldn't get out of their own end. Just not smooth, not connected.
So that, and maybe some guys, did he give us the impression that guys are under the weather?
Yeah.
And
the David Alter reported that today too, that there's guys sick up front and on D. And that the
plus
lineup.
Martin Jones in net. Is this a setup for a tough night?
Feels as much of a scheduled L as they've had
Back
all
to back,
season.
sick players. Martin Jones going against the Rangers.
Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, you got all these
Christmas
excuses now.
shopping.
The Nimo bars.
Did they have a big dinner last night? Is that why they're all feeling under the weather?
A little celebration.
The old Labatt Blue flu sweeping through the room. What's going on?
Johnny's back home. Not really home.
No, definitely not home.
Do we want to go to Sheldon on Martin Jones?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm sure he's excited for it. But I just think he's a veteran goalie that, isn't going to get too phased or too excited or anything like that. He's just going to be ready to go out and play and take advantage of his opportunity.
I'm sure there is a little bit of comfort there for Sheldon. This guy, I think he's forget what number he is for starts, but he's like really high in all-time starts.
Listen,
he's a top 100 guy in starts.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Once upon a time, this guy was a $5.5 million goalie.
Yeah, and not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
And, so, yeah, you definitely would have some comfort. It was nice he came in the other night and made 9 to 10 saves to get his win. So, yeah, it's not like they're starting Shalgren.
It's his 431st career start tonight for Martin Jones. That is 95 all-time for starts.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So it's like, yeah, he's maybe not the best guy, but you're not going to have a nervous guy going into Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
18 save shutout for Samsonov.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about his follow-up game last night? Still the road to recovery in terms of getting his play back to where it was a year ago?
Yeah.
You just answered the question.
Right. There's no goal where I'm like, he has to have that. But it's like, there's a few where you could probably, a really good goalie probably makes the save.
I think he made, in the 18 saver on Saturday, I think he made 2 or 3 more impressive saves in that game than he did last night.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of the goals.
The
one,
third one from
Paul
distance
Mary,
is...
yeah. The first one seems to go through his glove. The second one that's like a backhander on
the first one was Nelson's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which he's falling backwards. Like, it's probably like a 30 or 40-foot shot that seldom gets uncontested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually there's like 4 or 5 legs that thing's going to bounce off before it gets to Samsonov.
It's like he thought it was going to be tipped, but it wasn't.
And it was just such a clean shot. I didn't like that one at all.
No. I think it was Engvall in front. So he doesn't know that he doesn't need to be worried about Engvall going in front of him. But
You're hilarious yesterday saying about how, this team could use Engvall. 1 minute of seeing him out there, I'm like, haven't missed him for a second. Like, stay on Long Island, baby. For a long time on Long Island. Like, oh.
And then for the second and the third game, he disappeared.
I wonder if Butch knows he's a draw for this show.
yeah,
Probably
good
not.
chance no. So not his finest performance. So they They get the Rangers. Rangers, a kind of curious schedule for them of late. Where did I see? So they beat the Kings the other night 4-1 and a really
but
that's
prior
a really
to
good
that
team.
they had some bad losses to Washington.
Yeah, lost 4-0 to Washington,
Yes.
lost to Ottawa maybe,
5-1,
6-2 or something.
5-1,
they lost
6-2.
by 4 either way. And then they snuck by San Jose before that. Like they hadn't been clicking at their best, but obviously a good showing last time out. So let's listen to Sheldon Keefe tell us about his thoughts on the Rangers.
They got things going really well here this season, and lots to be aware of. Their 5-on-5 game, but really even their special teams. Special teams and goaltending clearly have been real difference makers for them. So that's an area we've got to be conscious of. But again, we'll just focus on our group. But certainly, there's things to be aware of on the other side.
It's a scary power play.
Yeah, Rangers power play is clicking to 30%, second best in the NHL. And their penalty kill is also in the top 10. So they're decent there, too.
Just think of that personnel there, though. Fox on the power play, Kreider in front of the net, Panarin firing passes around, Zibanejad one-timer. Like, they're a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I am concerned for the Leafs tonight.
Yeah, this feels like one no one's picking the Leafs in here tonight, are they, Kyper?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And we gotta hit the break before we get to Arthur.
Yes.
But I just want to make sure I get this in here. It's Borny's birthday today.
Oh.
And he was gonna try to sneak it by everybody. His wife DM'd me last night on Instagram and
come on.
it said, make sure he doesn't go the whole day without sneaking it around. So
And look at. Thanks, guys.
So happy birthday, buddy. Happy 50th to you. Congratulations.
Bring
happy
anything?
birthday. No, nothing.
Yeah, we got to. By the way,
Oh, yeah,
and on that
Marianne,
note,
yeah.
a thank you to Marianne for the Christmas baking for Kip and I.
yeah.
which
That's right.
was, Mama McKee makes
Yeah.
a mean and
Mama
Iron bar.
McKee.
Yeah.
With a
Mama Alton.
great,
Say Mama Alton.
Mama Alton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
got it
say
right.
it. You too, Kipper.
wonderful.
Mama Alton.
Alton.
There you go.
All
Mama
right,
Alton.
we're on.
There you go. All right.
Thank you, Mama. Alton. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, Arthur Staple, New York columnist covering the Rangers and the Isles for The Athletic. We're going to ask him if he envisions any day between now and the end of time that John Tavares will be welcomed back to the island.
Let it go.
That and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. All right, welcome back to the Real Kyper and Bourne show. As promised, Arthur Staple from The Athletic, covering the Rangers and the Islands. And, of course, John Tavares' 1,000th point.
Our John Tavares correspondent, live on the scene.
You were booing too, weren't you, Arthur? Be honest.
I covered John for a long time, so no, I was not booing. I was just observing, and there were plenty of blue and white jerseys in the stands. There was some applause, and UBS Arena, and you know Lou Lamoriello is a classy guy, putting up the congratulations at the end of regulation. There were a few sticks clapped on the boards on the Islanders bench. Some of his friends still there, but yeah, the fans, they feel the way they feel. It's a passionate bunch. Justin knows, Kyper. It's always been that way, and it will always be that way, especially when it comes to 91.
All right, well, it's great to hear your voice. Been a while. I want to get into your piece because we talked about it earlier in the show.
Can I just read it?
Please do.
It's in The Athletic today. It's on John Tavares, what everyone doesn't get about Islanders fans booing John Tavares.
Yeah, and so what don't people get about here? Because here in Toronto, Kip even said he thinks the booing has gotten excessive. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's once a year, really, so I don't know if you could call it
For 6 straight years, Arthur.
Yeah,
It's
I think, and Kyper, you can relate. I think this is their pot van suck. I think the Islanders have kind of found their thing that has lost a lot of meaning over the years. The way that the chant about Dennis Potvin at the Garden did. There were lots of fans who would whistle along and say that and have no idea what the origin of it was. I don't think we're that far out from the Tavares free agency decision, so I think plenty of fans still know and still feel a little sore about the way it went down. But I think in general, it's just something that it gets the fans blood going. You got to have a little hate in your heart if you're a crazy fan of any team. And I think it's just an energy in this building at UBS. It was an energy at the Coliseum first. It's an energy there. It's almost like a throwback to when maybe one of the last times that the Islanders felt that disrespect they used to feel for a long, long time. That they were through bad ownership and poor decisions and con men owning the team, all the ridiculousness of 3 decades. And that was kind of the last straw of John having 9 great years here and helping bring the team out of the dark ages, and then ultimately deciding to go to Toronto, the center of the hockey universe as far as kind of the punditry and all the media goes. And everyone really wanted to say to the Islanders, like, he belongs in Toronto. You got to just suck it up and take it. I don't think that's the way you want to be as a fan. You have to have some passion. And I think even with some of the success they've had since he's been gone, it's just something that they do to get themselves going when he's in the building. And I'm sure he doesn't love it, and I'm sure lots of other people don't love it, but that probably makes them keep on doing it. So you can't tell a New Yorker what to do, that's for sure.
We're talking to Arthur Staple, covering the New York Rangers and the Islanders for The Athletic. I just want to go back to your reference of the Potvin sucks chant. And, my first thought, Arthur, when I hear you say that is, well, Potvin never played for the New York Rangers. This is a situation where Islander fans had watched Tavares with, he bled for the team. The sweat, the tears for 9 seasons. This is like eating one of your own here. How come Islander fans are so easy to forget about those 9 years?
I think it's just kind of the way that last season went down where, ownership was relatively new. Scott Malkin, John Ledecky, they went all out to try to keep Tavares. They kept Garth Snow as GM for a season, maybe longer than they would have. They hired Doug Waite, who was really close with John after he kind of took over the year before and almost led them to a playoff spot after they'd been in last place. They did a lot to try to appease him, not that John asked for any of it, and not that he wanted that kind of spotlight, but, and John said all along, my focus is here throughout the year. I think some fans feel like he could have just kind of, blown the whistle on it and said, we're not going to make the playoffs. I'm having second thoughts. You guys can do whatever you need to do at the trade deadline. And that's not on him either. That's on ownership. And that's, they instructed Garth Snow not to trade him. They didn't want to try to damage that relationship going into the summer. And he agonized over that decision. And I think maybe he felt the difficulty of the decision might have made it more of an understanding situation for Islander fans. But, when you make those free agency decisions, especially if you've been with a team for a long time, somebody wins and somebody loses, and the losers aren't going to feel so good about it. So, I think maybe that's the part that took him a little by surprise, and the fact that it's, the vitriol from 2019, I guess, the plastic snakes and the booing pretty much from start to finish that game, which was a big Islanders win in that season that they were good without him for the first time. I think that exercised some demons, but I think it's, I do kind of wonder if John would just come out and say, hey, I love it. I love their passion. I love being here for almost 10 years, and they're free to do what they want. If that would just kind of take the air out of the situation. But I don't know if that's kind of his style or how he feels about it, or if it's too far gone now. But I have to figure at some point it's going to end, whether he ends up, going someplace else to finish his career besides Toronto, or if they just run out of gas at some point. But for now, there's seemingly no stopping it 6 years later, which is pretty amazing.
I think it all also comes back to the debate of, like, a lot of people are sure. Do you think he knew he was leaving or not? That's at the core of it. Like, if I say to people, like, he genuinely had a tough decision to make and didn't know what he was going to do, and then he made a choice, and people say he knew. And so it's a lot of people kind of guessing what he knew when about where he wanted to be. Kip and I have had that debate off the air too, so I don't think anyone can really answer that question. I do want to ask, you mentioned Lou Lamoriello had him put the...
Can I ask one more on John?
Please do.
Do you want to...
No, if you want to. No.
One more on John, because I threw this out there earlier to JB, and we didn't really get into it. But, like, do you see a future long after this? Listen, I'm a member of 3 alumni, Rangers, Washington, and Toronto. I love going to each city. People are amazing. Is there going to be one day when John Tavares can come back in the Islanders, drop a puck at center ice, watch his number get raised to the banner, and everything's just going to be fine? Is that in the future?
I sure hope so. And I would imagine that Scott Malkin, even whether Lou is still here or not, Scott Malkin will make that happen. I think the Islanders, one of the things that they've done exceptionally well under this ownership is welcome back anybody who played even one game for this organization. So you have to know there's going to be an olive branch extended. I would hope it would be soon after he decides to retire. I hope it would be received. And I think the outpouring of emotion then will be, just my guess from knowing Islander fans like I do, it'll be so much the other way. I think the dam will burst then. It's not going to happen now, and especially, while these two teams that have had a long Stanley Cup drought and still kind of battling it out to see if they can have a decent playoff run and win some playoff rounds, as the Islanders did a couple of years ago. But yeah, I have to think that once it's over with, and everybody, I think anybody who knows John knows that he was very sincere when he said his focus that last season with year 17-18, his focus was only on playing for the Islanders, and he saved the decisions for the summer, and it was extremely difficult to leave. So I think all those good feelings come back at some point, and I think it'll be a really good moment for him to realize that the fans, the vast majority of them, do still love him, and for the fans to recall the good stuff and how, when he got here, how moribund this franchise was, and how it was at the end when he scored the OT winner to beat the Panthers, get their first playoff series win in 23 years, and really do it almost single-handedly. So, yeah, I think that day's coming. I hope it's coming, and we'll see when it happens.
Yeah, if we searched every article you wrote for the last decade and tried to find Tavares complaining about playing in Nassau Coliseum and, in Brooklyn and everywhere else, I don't think we'd find too much. So I think he was a pretty good soldier there. Is Lou Lamoriello just going to live forever and be there forever and be the guy? Does he have a wizard spell? What is his status? Is there any way he's ever not the GM of the Islanders?
He looks great. He's 30 years older than me, and I would love to look that good when I'm his age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to think, and we'll never really know, right? You find out, everybody finds out at the same time what's going on with Lou, especially with him personally in terms of running this franchise. If there's a scenario where he steps back from the GM job and hands it over to his son, who's an assistant GM, and he has the president title, and certainly that would still mean to me that he'd be heavily involved in decision making and rule making and all those other things. I could envision that. I think it's interesting that that Scott Malkin, who's the principal owner, he's been the owner now for 8 years, but they don't really have a ton of league experience. They brought Lou in to replace Garth Snow, a very small front office that they had under Charles Wong's ownership. And they brought Lou in, and Lou has it's his front office. So I'd be curious to see if things don't go well for this season and ownership decides they want to make a full change, how that process would go, because you get rid of Lou and you really got to start from scratch. So it would be a big undertaking. I think this season will be pretty determinative if they can continue to succeed despite blowing leads. And, they seem like they have a pretty good team. If they can make the playoffs and make a little bit of a run, maybe Lou gets to decide how he goes out, and if things start to fall apart and they blow too many leads, maybe the ownership decides how it's going to play out.
Arthur, one quick one regarding the New York Rangers. Do the Leafs see the one that beat LA 4-1, or what we saw against Ottawa and also the loss to Washington?
Yeah, I don't think the Rangers can afford to play that way against the Leafs. If you start getting into a track meet against the Senators team, which is obviously young and fast and doesn't love to play a lot of defense, and you're going to get victimized. And this Leafs team is probably even better than that offensively, and they're certainly not that good defensively. So I think the Rangers have to stay disciplined, and I think they could have a lot of success against Toronto. I was watching them last night for kind of the bulk of that game against the Islanders, where they were really hemmed in, and the Islanders are not, an exceptional forechecking team. The Rangers have really been kind of, buying into what Peter Laviolette's been selling these first 26 games, where they have had some structure that even through some pretty critical injuries. Adam Fox was out for a month. They still have no Filipino. They still have no Capo Caco. It's not a particularly young group of forwards, but when they play with structure and they've got kind of the line that's been driving the offense all year in Panarin and Trocheck and Lafreniere, when that line gets going, they can be very dangerous. So, I think first, 10, 15 minutes, we'll see what kind of game it is. And the Rangers have been able to adapt to a lot of different ways games have gone and won a lot of different ways. And I think they want to keep it to a pretty low event game like they had with LA. And if they can do that, and Toronto doesn't seem to have a lot of patience so far this year, especially without the puck. So we'll see which game the Rangers want to play. If they want the track meet, I don't know if it's going to go so well for them.
Arthur, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your time. And by chance, if you're chasing a subway or something's going on, an A for effort for coming on our show today, man. Thanks.
Thanks, boys. Anytime.
Okay.
Thanks, Arthur.
Arthur Stable, The Athletic. Do you bother to ask them at any point, where are you when we talk to you?
Demolition Derby,
it wasn't bad. I'm not sure if he was actually at the subway or not.
I mean, I had a bunch of different ideas. At first, I thought he was in an arcade, and then I was like, "Is he at
the rink?" Right?
I was like, "Is he at Penn Station?" And then I'm like, "Well, yeah, he's going to cover Leafs Rangers tonight."
Yes.
You want to get a guy on that's covering the game. You might not actually get him to sit down at his desk at his computer. It's you're not getting 15.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not complaining.
We've been doing this together a long time now, Kyper.
Yes.
I know there's nothing that drives you more insane than a bad phone. The Zoom has really improved it this year, so there's been less drops and there's been less things. But
Sammy,
at the top of your power list of things that piss you off, bad phone, very high.
There are times when we've talked to people where 2 cans and a string tied together would have been better reception than what you've given us.
Hey, let's take a moment to jinx the hell out of this. I don't think we've had a dropped call this season. We were having three. Was it 3 a show? Was the record? Was 3 of them all?
Yeah, it's
3
funny.
for one interview.
Sammy was our Sheldon Keefe, too many men on the ice leader last year and dropped calls.
Kevin Kurz last year.
Yeah.
Who actually covers the Islanders as well.
Yes.
He had 3 in one interview.
That was the hat trick of drop calls.
Kipper just look up at me and I'm like, oh, geez.
Like you dropped them personally, like you were holding the call in your hand.
But, Staples a good guy, and he was on the go. But
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Did you buy into his, when John retires, everything will be okay? Do you really believe that? Because listen, I spent 3 years in New York, man. They got some long memories. Potvin sucks for 40 years.
They need something else.
Okay.
They need some other person to hate, and they need a thing.
They pass that stuff on.
Generational. What'd you inherit? 30 grand and a hatred for the Leafs.
Is generational.
Yeah.
He's not welcome in that building.
And people don't even know, to his point, they don't even know why they're saying that anymore. Actually, in reading the article, I was refreshed. It was on like a bad hit that broke one of the Rangers' ankles 40 years ago, and they're still doing it. So, yeah, it's a tough community to move on.
Don't think it's ever going to happen, boys.
Yeah. Just go to Long Island, John, get a deli sandwich, and got nice cold cuts, move on. Don't worry about it.
He's got the 91 retirement jersey thing.
You mentioned that.
What do you think?
9 years
I don't know.
and left the way he did. No cup. One playoff round.
I'm asking.
They won 4 Stanleys in a row. They're high. They got standards.
Let me just say,
the bar's high.
My dad's number is not in the rafters there.
Yes.
I thought it was.
No, Thomas Hickey yesterday.
4 cups. He led them in scoring the year they won a cup over the Oilers in the playoffs.
Horvat wears his number.
Yeah, Hickey wore it. Yeah,
yeah.
To your point, Trevor Gillies wore it.
Yeah.
So to put 91 up there,
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I might have a hard time with that.
No,
I'll be honest. Yeah.
All right.
I think that's completely fair.
That's fair. How many points did he have as an Islander? Probably 700.
Tavares
sorry.
was 669. Yeah, my dad was like 580 or 590 or something. Different roles. I understand they're very different players. He was a number 1 overall pick and all that, but
he also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the organization they were in tough.
They stunk. He played with no one.
When he played.
Yeah.
Tavares
is a great Islander. It's just a big
Okay,
leap to say
we are told
Tigers.
we are out of time, but that doesn't mean we're not back for another hour on the national edition of Real Kyper and Bourne. Our thanks to Arthur Staple for dropping by, Leafs and the Rangers tonight. Stick around. After the break, we're back. Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome in to Real Kyper and Bourne. We are live on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee in the next hour. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Eric Francis, senior columnist with Sportsnet. Does a terrific job covering the Calgary Flames. Last night.
Hold on. Where's our rocking guitar solo with your intro?
We just do a cold open? What happened?
It feels like a dry run, right?
I don't know.
Are we on air? Hello?
It was.
Oh, is it below my level?
I'm told it was there. We just can't hear it. We're like dogs with a high pitch.
No, the dogs can hear the high pitch.
Can hear it. Okay.
We're like the opposite of dogs.
We're the opposite of
cats.
dogs.
It's like my dog when I tell him to sit. He doesn't hear it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You were doing a show and I was rudely interrupting you. Oh, hey!
All right, there we go. There
Thank
we
God.
go. All right.
All right,
See,
we're back.
now
That feels better.
Yeah.
Now we got our vibe going.
There we go.
Comfortable lead, I think. No, never really a comfortable lead, 5-3. And then they give up, three unanswered goals in
6-5 in regulation.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
And felt a little devastating. And I don't know
If only they had a shutdown D-man like Tanev.
if that feels worse than losing Tanev the first 15 seconds of the opening faceoff, which is worse.
The Tanev loss, probably. Here's where I'm at with the Flames. Good team, could make the playoffs this season, but for what? They're not a Stanley Cup contender. Are they not better to accumulate assets, maybe be worse? I know no one wants to hear that. They should probably just, they got Huberdeau, they got Weegar, they got Kadri. They're playing for it.
They're officially behind the Edmonton Oilers now.
They're behind the Oilers.
Yeah. And
Tanev's out. They've traded Zadorov.
so quickly before we get in, we can get into this more after Eric. I don't know if he's there yet or not, but I pitched this to you guys yesterday when we were off air. I was like, big Bedard versus Connor McDavid battle tonight. Like, do you think we should?
We both swam by your
and
bait.
both of you guys were like,
Not a story.
"Nah,
Listen,
Not a story.
I think it's
not a story."
Not a story.
Come
Connor
that-
versus Connor. They both really like each other.
It's
They're
on-
10 years apart in age, and neither of them are well, and one's
I
not
don't
going for the
blame
cup.
them for trying.
It's on
to-
TNT National. Like it's
Yeah.
on down south. Like it's on
Great players, first pick, names are the same.
outside
End
of
of
that.
list.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I way off base here? Marquee in that there's two great players.
I don't blame them for trying to hang their hat on something here.
Yeah.
Outside of Bedard, there's nothing that would ever make you want to watch a Chicago Blackhawk game.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, great. Connor versus Connor, where the one Connor wins 7-1.
Like McDavid's humming now. The
Yeah.
Oilers have won 7 in a row. Like Bedard is finding it. He's having a great year. He's an awesome player. But like Sid and Ovi hated each other.
Hey,
Well,
And they were the same age within a year or two.
Yeah, there was
and
some-
both their teams were good, and they met in the play. Like, there's no juice here.
yeah, there's no you'll never get that, I think, out of Bedard. But I don't know. We may be wrong. There might be a little bit of a tiger in there somewhere.
They skate in the summer together.
oh, like you're just saying like they just like each other. So it can't be like a true rivalry.
They're both trying to be great alongside. Like maybe if both teams are great at the same time at some point, we'll have something. But
And they'll eventually be teammates playing for Team Canada. So
okay, look forward to that if
Yeah, me
that
too.
ever happens.
yeah.
All right. As we mentioned earlier, Eric Francis now joins us, senior columnist with the Sportsnet.ca. Eric, thanks for joining us. Top of the hour, we were talking about a blown lead on whether or not that's the first thing you think of last night is blowing the 3-goal lead or losing Chris Tanev in the first 15 seconds. Which one is a bigger story for you?
Tough to say which stings the most. I mean, it was such a gritty effort with 5 defensemen the whole game. They blocked 30 shots. Like it would have been a season-turning win, in my opinion. Instead, it's like a season, the biggest gut punch all season they'll probably get. The word on Tanev, from what I understand, is that he was feeling a little better after the game. Like, I know we're not supposed to throw around the word concussion around, but like when someone's face goes first into the glass, you have to assume that that's potentially what he's dealing with. He looked quite dazed. Anyway, apparently looked a lot better after the game. He's definitely not playing tonight. They've listed him as day-to-day, so I assume we're supposed to read into it that that's good news.
Mm-hmm. So, where do you think this Flames team is at? I kind of just said maybe it'd be better if they're going the opposite direction than winning for this season. But there's a lot of weak teams in the West. They could get into the playoffs. They have enough veteran guys in goaltending and D that you never know once you're there. Where are they and what do you think they should be doing?
I'm 100% with you. I think they could make the playoffs. I mean, I think, but I don't think you can make the playoffs if you get rid of 2 or 3 of those UFAs. I mean, those are cornerstones of your franchise, like Hannafin, Lindholm, and Tanev. I mean, extremely popular, extremely important. So, yeah, if you kept them, I think you'd have, a 50-50 chance of making the playoffs. But you can't keep them all. You probably can't keep even more than one of them. And probably the smart money is that they won't keep any of them. So I'm 100% with you for what? This franchise for 30 years has been in the middle, right in the middle. I did the numbers the other day. 30 years of NHL hockey in Calgary, Flames are 17th. They have the 17th best record.
Oh.
Like that's like the worst place to be because you don't get good draft picks and you're also often not in the playoffs. So that kind of sums up where they've been for 30 years. Now is a really golden opportunity to affect significant change in that regard.
Eric, 2-3 weeks ago, a couple of big wins against Vegas and Dallas. And were those wins to buy Craig Conroy time to not feel like the pressure to move anybody? And did maybe the last couple of losses change that again? Or is this the way it's going to be? Like, what is his preference right now? Because I'll use Tanev as an example here. And yes, everybody knows he'd be great on any contending team right now as a legit top 4 shutdown guy. But then there's that thing that hangs over his head a little bit, is that injury. He can go down at any time. So is last night's reminder of him being hurt to Craig Conroy is be careful here how long you want to hold on to him. And if he gets hurt again, is it going to be day to day, week to week, or season ending?
You nailed it. I mean, it's a cautionary tale what happened last night. And like I said, it looks like they may have dodged a bullet here, but this guy's the ultimate warrior in the way he plays the game. I mean, I think most people in Canada saw him eat that puck a couple of weeks ago, and he was back the next game. I mean, this guy will – the funny thing is I've often used the term, he'd block a shot with his face in the preseason. He'll do it in game 25, 27 as well, but that's the danger. And so, yes, Craig Conroy's taking, probably upwards of at least another month to really see what he's got here. They've put a moratorium on any contract talks with any of their UFAs or anything like that. And they just want to see what they've got. But then when you see 15 seconds into the game last night, one of your big prospect's not the word, but, you're going to get at least a second rounder and probably a really good prospect for Chris Tanev if you decide to trade him. And that may have all disappeared with one hit into the glass. So it looks like, again, that's not going to be the case right now, but every game those guys play, you run the risk of jeopardizing the future of this franchise a little more. So maybe you want to speed it up. But I also don't think he'd do anything before Christmas. I just don't think Conroy's that guy. But as soon as Christmas is over, it's my belief that it should be open season, because by then you'll have seen enough 2-game winning streaks, 3-game losing streaks, 1-game win, 2 games losing. That's what we've seen here for 30 years.
So if you're looking to turn things around, you need some young people. I've been really impressed with Connor Zary. What's he at? Nearly Huberdeau's point total in 10 less games, and he's been effective. What are your thoughts on some of the young guys coming along? Like, if they do flip some assets, would they be able to be competitive again soon?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the Huberdeau issue is going to be probably a problem for a long time.
Is he still struggling?
7 more years.
Still struggling?
Yeah, he's really struggling. And it's the point where it's actually hurting the team. The other night he had an open net. They were up 1-0. They had all the momentum in the world. He missed the open net by about a foot from 5 feet out. And next thing you know, they lose the game. So, but Connor Zary is the biggest and best and most surprising story of the season for the Calgary Flames. He really is. Like, guys, at the end of the season, I mean, we've got a long way to go, but at this point in time, he's got to be in the Calder conversation. I'm not throwing him up there with the other Connor. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, on a points per game basis, I think he's second only to Bedard. And he's really having an impact. He's on the top line right now. He got promoted to the top line. Had a great goal last night, 13 points in 18 games. Like, he's really, I think he's only 2 goals off the team lead, and he missed 10 games. So, yeah, Connor Zary is a big part of what this team will be moving forward. And I do think they can retool, is the word, and be a really good team in a couple of years. I really do believe that. Kadri's been a really good player for them.
Yeah.
You got some cornerstones here. You got strong goaltending, all 3 of them. You know, it's there are a lot of positive signs. You make a couple really good trades, and it's a different look.
So why is Kadri been able to turn this thing around and Huberdeau has not?
You know, Kadri's really been energized by 2 raw rookies. I mean, Martin Pospisil and Connor Zary have been on his wings, and ever since then, Kadri's been a point per game guy. He's fully engaged. He's a leader. I think he really likes being that father figure, so to speak, to those young guys. He says they've energized him. He's energized them. I really think that, you know, the first 10 games were a bit of a struggle for him, and he wasn't getting any point production. Now he is, and he's been really good. And like I said, him and Coleman have probably been the 2 most consistent Flames all season long. So when people speak from the outside, like looking in and say, wow, you're in big trouble when you got a Kadri contract and a Huberdeau contract, that's only half true, because Kadri is not a problem. He is a real leader for this team.
So what are your thoughts on what's happening in Edmonton right now, where they've found it a little bit? I know Flames fans are not having fun watching this show so far, but Oilers kind of look like more like what we thought they'd be.
Yeah, people in Calgary look at the Oilers like a bad cold. You just can't shake them, no matter
Go away.
You know how the season started for them. I don't think anybody in hockey thought that they were definitely going to be out of the picture. I mean, it was looking tenuous there. Don't get me wrong, but clearly McDavid is healthier, and I don't even think Draisaitl's at 100% right now, or not playing that way, and they're still just absolutely rolling, which surprises I don't think anybody, certainly out this neck of the woods. So, yeah. That's something we've heard about a lot in Calgary over the last couple of days, that the Oilers have surged ahead of the Flames. Because I can tell you, when the Oilers were really struggling, that was one of the number 1 conversations in Calgary. People really took joy in it. And I told everyone, well, enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not lasting long.
Yeah.
Lindholm, you know, I get where you still have to make a decision on the transition of where you are and where you hope to be in a year or 2, but do you not almost have to keep Lindholm, just knowing that you've got to battle Edmonton in the next few years and keep people engaged?
But at what cost, Kyper? Like, I agree. It's tough to trade any one of those 3 guys. Like, I would argue Tanev is the hardest one to trade, because he's the ultimate teammate, the ultimate pro. If you've got a young team, who better to teach them how to be a pro on and off the ice than a guy like Tanev? I can say the same thing about Lindholm. At the beginning of the year, they offered him 8 years times $8 million. The word on the street was, on the open market, he probably thinks he can get 9.5. Well, with the season he's having right now, and the season he had last year, 64 points, I think if I was Lindholm, I'd go back to the Flames and say, you know what? I'll take 8 by 8. I really do. I think his stock is, I'm not going to say it's plummeted. He's coveted around the league as one of the better 2-way centers, but it's at what price? And I don't think the Flames can afford it. And plus, at the end of the day, I don't think he wants to stay here. I got that feeling. We all got that feeling when he left last year, and I don't think much has changed in terms of positive news for him and the way he looks at this team and this city.
Dustin Wolf exciting some people there. Is he? How much time is he going to spend in the Flames crease this year?
Well, I think Markstrom's supposed to be out probably another week, is what we're kind of led to believe, with a broken finger. While he's here, he sure made some noise. People love him. He's probably the most popular player on the team. People love every time they hear that he's starting. He represents the future. Yeah. And people in this city are so excited about turning the page from the mushy middle and trying to build something different on the backs of youth. And as I said earlier, Zari's one of the most exciting players on this team this year. Martin Pospisil has taken some time doing that. Matt Cordero got sent back down today, but at the end of the day, people are really excited about what he can bring. But of all them, Dustin Wolf is the guy they're most excited about. And I think in every one of his appearances this year, he's been really strong. A lot of the goals that he let in were not his fault. So exciting time for Flames fans to see this guy really starting to prove finally that at this level he can do it as well.
You know what? As far as prototypical goalies today in the National Hockey League, they're all 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". He doesn't fall into that, but he's proven at every level that he doesn't have to be that size. But are there still some naysayers out there that think that'll catch up to him, that he's not bigger than the guy across from him 200 feet away?
You know, I think for years you've heard that, but it's 4 years in a row now. He's been the best goalie in the league that he played in. 2 years in junior, 2 years in the AHL, and last year he was the MVP of the AHL. I mean, I don't know what else the guy can do to prove that he's ready for a legitimate shot than what he's done. And when you see him out there, it's not like he comes out and everyone says, "Oh my Lord, he's so small." They still have him listed at 6 feet. I know that might be a little liberal, but at the end of the day, he's pretty close. And he's only like 155, 160 pounds. He is small for sure, but he doesn't look small and he doesn't play small. And technically, you know, the goalie gurus around here tell me that technically the guy's as sound as they come. So I don't hear anybody saying, just wait a second, he needs to prove it. People think he's the real deal already.
Last one from me here. I just want to get your thoughts on the change in coach from last year to this year. Everyone thought it was going different tone, right? How has Huska changed things for Calgary Flames and the fans in the absence of Daryl Sutter?
Communication.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, with Daryl, and it was part of his ploy, he wanted everyone to be off balance and not know where they stood. And that's kind of the old school way. And we've all heard that. And you guys have probably been coached that way by a few people. The new age coach and the Ryan Huskas of the world are all about the exact opposite. Let them know where they stand at all times, give them constant feedback, give them an overload of feedback. And that's the difference. And the players really respect Ryan. They like Ryan. And I know that doesn't matter whether the players like a coach or not. It makes life easier, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful. But I would say he's been a success so far. I know the record might not reflect that, but don't forget, guys, they had 2 wins in their first 10 games. And a Lester coach might have let this thing get right off the rails, and this thing could have been over before it even started. But he had them battle back and get right back into a playoff race. So I give him a ton of credit. I think he's been very effective.
Eric, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your time. Big challenge today in Vegas. If they find a way to get this thing done, man, they may just be the team that just won't go away.
Yeah, I think last night for 2 periods, it sort of looked like they were that team, but at the end of the day, they're just not good enough to roll with a team like the Avs. So we'll see how they fare tonight. They've only won once in Vegas in their history, so it'll be a tough one.
All right, Calgary and Vegas tonight. Eric, really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for doing this.
Cheers, boys. Always good to catch up. Take
Thanks,
care.
Eric. Appreciate it.
He mentioned a second-round pick and a pretty good prospect for Tanev.
Second rounder and a prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
Leafs have neither of those things. So
yeah, there's a few teams probably in a situation where either they don't have the prospect, or there's still the cash element here. And the one thing that was so appealing to Craig Conroy when he moved Zadorov is that they happily took all of the money.
yeah. I mean, there's always the option when someone sets a price like that for you to go, okay, well, we've got a really good prospect, so we'll call it a fourth. Or, like that's kind of their baseline. It wouldn't have to be a second specifically, depending what you had. But, if you're talking about the Leafs here, as we were before.
Like the Leafs don't have a second, but they have the ability with Klingberg's contract gone now to take all of it.
Yeah.
Which
So
I think kind of matches.
A third in the prospect or whatever.
No, it's not going to third.
Well, it depends what the prospect is, right? If it's Easton Cowan, it's not a pick at all. It depends what you trade for a prospect, obviously.
But would they push for Minton?
That would be ridiculous to the Leafs. I mean, Minton is...
They have to give something up to go get a guy who can shut down teams like Chris Tanev. It's not cheap JB.
No. And maybe there's not a fit with the Leafs because the Leafs prospects like Minton and Cowan are what they need now in that they're cheap and they're just about cooked in the oven. Like they can use Minton next season. So that's probably a tough one for them to make.
Nick Robertson been playing?
Well, sure. And the Flames could use some scoring. By the way, Calgary Flames top scorer is Kadri with 20 points.
If they're looking for a guy who gets with some scoring, they should probably find a guy who scores.
So I do want to say I've liked Robertson a lot.
He's trying so hard.
He wins back pucks. He's in the right spots. He's doing all the right things.
Under the right circumstances, right guys, bigger, heavier players to help
on
him
the power play,
open up room. Yeah, I think there's something there.
I think he's a player now. I believe he's an NHL player now. I didn't last year.
A top 6 player.
Yeah, I do. On a not great team.
On the Calgary Flames.
Listen, there's 32 teams in the league. Like, not everyone can be a top 6 guy on a cup winner.
Yeah,
but there's still 32 teams.
Yep.
Let someone talk himself. Anyway.
I am like, I like a lot of the pieces on Calgary. And
they're like the Canucks of old to me, where it's like, I don't get why they're this bad.
Maybe it's just their jerseys are so beautiful. I like watching them. And it just feels like they should be better than they are. And they're just, I can't quite put my finger on it. Lack of scoring.
Yeah. The Lindholm thing was fascinating because, I still think of him. He scored 42 goals for the Flames.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he played the whole season. He only had 22.
Well,
and this year, he's
when you don't play with, Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau on a line.
The best line in history, basically.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy job.
But it's funny because if you had asked me who had more value on the open market, Nylander or Lindholm, after that season, it's probably Lindholm, right? He's a bigger guy, two-way guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And now it's like, we're talking about Willie in the 11s. He's talking about 8x8 for Lindholm.
Listen,
I mean, sign me up to give Lindholm
I don't think
7x8.
Lindholm's going to ever find himself in a Klingberg situation where you're turning down $60 million to take a little bit more.
Right.
But it makes you as a player go, okay, when do I think enough's enough, or when do I want to push for more? Or if I'm turning down 64, will I see it again? Could it become 50? Could it become 45?
That's what
Could it become 30?
And this is why these guys sign these deals. You look at how about Josh Anderson's contract? He's making 5.5 for 2 more seasons. He's got 1 empty netter this year.
Yeah.
How about JG Pajot on the Isles? He's making 5 times 6 years at $5 million per. How many points does he have this year? I don't know. You were like 10
in 27 games.
Like some of these guys that get offered longer term deals, sometimes you just got to take the longer term deal because it's not always going to go great. So,
yeah, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful. That's the security is a lot of value. And
the agent, too. The agent's got to be careful. That's his money, too.
It's a good point. Like, I'm sure we always talk about Klingberg. I'm sure his old agent is sitting at home going, could use that boat.
Klingberg should have hired Ohtani's agent.
Oh, God.
You know what? Watching again last night, and Eric mentioned it, like Blake Coleman. I'm watching Blake, and it's like, no wonder the Lightning, won with that guy.
Oh, he plays hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
But he was so average in the American League. But he just works.
Really?
I did. I mean, he played for Albany when I was with the Marlies, and he was fine.
Really?
Yeah, he's second, third line guy. Worked hard, forechecked.
But just
continued to take that level up to where now you do that at the NHL level and you score 20 times, you make a lot of money.
Took it to another level.
Yeah.
And I think Rasmus Anderson played 30 minutes with 10 of out in the first 15 seconds.
They asked a lot of Rasmus Anderson.
Every
He's a
name,
nice player.
Every name you're saying here, I'm like,
player.
Love that player.
I know.
Really love Kadri. I guess Huberdeau making 10 Schmil doesn't help them in terms of
But
what they
Kadri,
do.
Coleman, Elias Lindholm, Mackenzie Weegar, Rasmus Anderson, Mangiapane, Huberdeau, like Backlund, Hannafin. That team has so many good players.
Legitimately really like all those guys.
I like Dubé, Chris Tanev, Walker Dewar.
Game time.
Sorry, Coronado. Sorry.
No,
it's a good team.
Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah. Maybe they don't give up quite yet. All right, it's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Got a few dogs for this evening. I've been red hot. So
no Ohtani talk.
No Ohtani talk. Checking in on the odds. I saw.
Hold on,
I saw.
Kip
I
has
saw,
something
I
Otani.
don't know. Just
I saw a great T-shirt floating around Twitter that the Los Angeles Tax Dodgers, and I was like,
That's a great
I might have to get that
line.
T-shirt. That's a good
I asked
T-shirt.
Kip before the show. I was like, wouldn't the state of California be upset that the guy's going to work there and not pay any of those taxes? But
Like, don't you want the money? You're making $2 million a year. Like,
he's
just
going to make $40 million in endorsements and just
Yeah,
live off
yeah.
that.
it's like we're gonna go one day and we're gonna go to Cap Friendly, and it won't completely make any sense.
No, it's going to be
It's
so many layers. To
remember the good
deals.
old days when you actually got
Had a
paid
number, a salary.
a real number at a
Yeah.
real time.
But I can't believe California's not going to be like, he's going to do the work here, leave, and then get the money. We want our money. He earned it here.
No,
That's not how it works.
no.
All right.
It's like
My innocent me.
if like he's paying. What's he making? $2 million?
Yeah.
Well, he's paying taxes on $2 million.
Yeah,
That's
but
his
he's-
income.
No, he's making 70. He's getting paid to.
But he's not making it till later on.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he
until
is
he's-
making
you're
it.
not-
He is making it
Well,
in
where's
the 10 years he's in the
this
state.
is an excellent conversation.
no? This is.
I think it's
Can you get an accountant? Can you get
What's your
an
boy?
American?
Yeah, call Stu up.
We need
Peter
someone
Pulmonacos
smarter
on the
than
line.
us. But all I know is that you pay what you're supposed to pay, and he's not supposed to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So tonight I'm going with two pretty significant dogs. Last night I went literally dogs, the Coyotes. Last night I went with the Coyotes. Didn't treat me too well, but they're on the second half of back-to-back tonight, going into the Penguins.
No, Penguins cannot lose tonight.
They're,
Okay. They're not.
here's the thing about the Penguins. They're not very good. They're not very good.
We just went through
They're not
Calgary's
losing.
lineup. Look at the
They're not
Penguins
losing.
lineup.
Okay, I think they might lose, and you get pretty good value on plus 160 on the Coyotes. The Penguins.
Good value.
The Penguins, to me, should not be a minus 200 favorite against anybody in the league. The way they're playing right now, they haven't scored on the power play in 6 years. So
Say this. I think the Penguins are going to win, but I think that's a good bet.
Is there a bet on a power play goal?
Value.
no, I would.
Kip said.
They don't. I would say I don't even know how to look that up.
What was
Not
the question,
savvy
sorry?
enough. A bet on a power play goal.
They haven't scored
Any power
one
play?
in a month.
Yeah.
What would you put it
It's
at?
been a minute.
A lot. The other one I'm looking at is the Flyers in Nashville. It seems like the books aren't quite
Hip to the
believing
good Flyers.
in the
Nashville
Flyers yet.
stinking.
And I watched that Nashville team be pretty listless on Saturday night. The Flyers are playing hard. They have balls, as their coach likes to say.
Yeah.
They're plus 120 in Nashville tonight. So give me
Great
the
one.
give me the Preds.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wait. Give you the Preds?
oh, give me the what did I say?
Flyers, yeah.
I meant to say
Go
give me the
Flyers.
Flyers over the Preds. And the last quick one, another one. You're talking about a team that needs to win. The Red Wings have yet to win with Patrick Kane, I believe, right? They haven't won yet. They're looking to lose. This will be their third in a row that they would lose. Third game that he's played. They're plus 120 in St. Louis. So they got to win a game here eventually. St. Louis isn't great. I like that one as a dog.
Yeah.
And I just looking at the futures.
I don't like him without Dylan Larkin for a while.
Yeah, it's tough.
Do
But
we know how long he's out?
seems like a long time.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good.
He's on IR, but that's not the 10 games or 24-day one.
Placeholder till he's LTIR. Or?
And the crazy thing, I was looking at the futures because, I like to look at the futures. The second favorite for the Vezina right now, Cam Talbot, plus 750.
That's a bad bet. Don't place that bet.
Do not
kids.
bet that. But it's crazy. It's a weird year. Goalies
Yeah.
are weird, man.
They
In the
are.
year 2023, Cam Talbot is the second favorite for the Vezina in December.
Sends
Crazy.
fans just going, what?
Pardon? Yeah, we traded Gustafson for it, and now we don't have him.
Oh.
All right. That was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And usually when we do that, there's music played, right?
When we come back.
Oh, when we come
that's in
back.
hours. Okay.
Okay.
I think.
I'm just.
I can't. Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
That's hilarious. We've done the show for this is our
Yeah.
third
Hey,
year and
what
we
is-
don't know.
What is up with Mikko Rantanen? Because
Oh,
Oh,
he,
yeah.
Oh my.
he's not very happy with a teammate's dad. Is that the story?
Yeah,
Do you have that clip?
I do.
Oh, I want to hear it after the break.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
happy with your dad, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's a
Good guy.
Yeah.
Shout out Al.
Just don't. Andy.
Andy, sorry.
and just don't watch him putt from 4 feet.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Oh,
not
what?
nice.
It takes too long or what?
We'll just go to break.
Yep.
Eh.
Okay. Tell me during the break. All right, more Real Kyper and Bourne after these words. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Tech guru and genius of our show. The brains behind the whole operation, Derek Brandeo, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you, like, he misses music intro once, and you're up in arms over it? Really?
Yeah, no, it's an integral part of my pre-shot routine.
I think the show's nothing without him.
It's true.
If I don't, it's like if I don't have it as part of like doing my glove up before my swing, I can't.
And
swing.
let's not forget Jen Rolnick.
Yes.
Another
And what about me?
tech genius. You.
And I help.
You're just you. You're just you. So in light of all these dad trips,
Yes.
I think the Leafs are currently on one.
Flyers are on one as well.
Why do you have a problem with your dad putting within 3 feet?
Oh, why'd you bring it back up? No reason. No. he just gets lots of gimmies from me.
Well, while we're discussing dads and putting, my dad is a lefty, and he is so not confident with his putting. Inside 10 feet, he switches and putts right-handed. He carries 2 putters to avoid the short yips.
Okay,
Shout
can I
out
share my
to Dad.
dad?
Yeah, let's
my
have it.
dad took up golfing at age 65 and had 3 hole-in-ones
Come on.
up until he stopped golfing maybe 5 years ago. 4 years ago.
Wow.
3.
3.
Yes.
That's remarkable. And you have one?
I've got 2.
Borny?
1.
Oh, yeah, when you're like 12, right?
12,
You?
yeah.
I forgot to tell you guys yesterday.
You had one yesterday?
No.
Oh.
But I golfed Saturday.
What?
You guys okay?
How did that not come up?
I don't know.
What?
Golf in
No
December? And you
way.
just didn't mention it?
Latest ever.
Wow.
Yes.
It was really warm.
It
I
was
saw,
balmy,
yeah.
13 degrees.
I saw my boy.
What was open? Rosedale?
Yeah, Rosedale.
Yeah.
They've got all temporary holes
Oh, you're
at the
desperate.
bottom of the greens.
Yeah.
And I'm hitting
Auto 2-putt. You love it.
driver. Like, it felt good to unleash.
There was a few courses open. My boy out at Copetown, Barry, he opened it up. I saw some tweets from out there. Like,
Damn.
it was golfable. It was very mild on
I'm
Saturday.
out there at the park with my kids like a fool.
Yeah, it was raking leaves or something.
All right. As we mentioned, going to break, Rantanen. Really kind of a strange thing because I had to be reminded that he's speaking of a teammate's dad
Yeah.
who apparently made comments to a Finnish newspaper that he was not happy with.
It's Arturi Lekkonen's dad.
Yes.
And what was the context that you told us?
The context is that Lekkonen's dad is a hockey commentator, a
Yes.
former player who's talking, it wasn't just like a random person on the street interview or something.
And the gist of it is that he questioned his
Off-season.
off-season training and whether or not he was in great shape or not, correct?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's.
Do we
the
have
context. We do have the clip.
Let's hear
We want
Mikko
to play?
Rantanen
Yeah, here it
weighing
is.
in on
Yeah.
that.
Feels good, and there's actually one thing where I got a lot of extra energy. One of our Finnish NHL players' dad was talking about me in media that I didn't train last summer like I used to do, and he was just making things up. So I think that was for him. If you talk, it's gonna come back at you. So
Apparently, he went out of his way to make this point.
It wasn't even referenced,
No.
right? Nobody knew anything about it. And that's usually the case, that there's always a ton of news coming out of Sweden and Finland, but it doesn't necessarily reach us here in North America, so it kind of sits idle. But Rantanen brought it to the forefront.
That one stuck with him.
Yeah. And it's weird to me that he says one of our Finnish players' dads.
Yeah, he didn't
just say the name.
He didn't go Lecky's dad.
Yeah.
He went Finnish player's dad.
Yeah. There was some stuff in the replies to this that they know each other, Mikko and the Finnish
they gotta
player's
be
dad.
buddies. Come on.
Yeah, it sounds like they have a relationship.
Yes.
But this is that's a direct. You don't go into the news and swear twice about a guy talking whatever if you're just being playful.
We were talking about it nationally on television in Canada, a Finnish newspaper story.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he wanted to make a point here.
Mission accomplished for Mikko here.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Let's check out his season stats, shall we?
He scored his first in 9 last night, I think. I think that's what he was mentioning.
He said it felt good.
It just sounded like, I don't know, if you're going to go out of your way to do that. And he is a professional broadcaster, is he not?
He is.
He's paid to have an opinion.
But not on the NHL. And here's what would kill me, Kip, is if you're Rantanen, you know that I forget his first name. Lekkonen's dad got that info from somewhere, that opinion from somewhere.
Yeah.
And where does it come from? It comes from Arturi. It comes from your teammate.
Arturi
yeah,
Lekkonen's
you
an
was-
amazing name, by the way.
You're assuming.
Yes. Well,
We don't know.
we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But Lekkonen's dad wasn't watching Rantanen. Well, maybe he was watching him work out. all summer.
But I see where you're coming from. If you're Rantanen, you're like, where the hell did you hear that?
Yes.
You're like, where did
could
that
it have come from?
And
Unless
you're going to start
I get the assumption for sure.
Yeah.
drawing lines.
I
here.
did see something that maybe they work out. Maybe he does know. Maybe he did see, which would make it even worse if he watched him all work out all summer and then
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
not a really great workout there, pal.
Those,
just seems like-
those arms are looking a little noodly.
It just seems like going out of your way for, like, I don't know if it's
I like
if
it.
it's worth it.
No, but you know what? If Willie Nylander said, I read this thing in the paper, someone was talking crap about me, and I went out there and it motivated me
Yeah.
personally, and I stuck it to
Callie
him.
Yarncrocs' dad said,
Yeah. You'd love that
This
Willie
guy's a
was like
dog.
engaged and
But
mad.
would you
and
do
like,
it if really nobody else heard it?
Well, that's the thing. If a
Do
tree,
you want to
if a hockey
draw?
comment falls in Finland and no one hears it or reads it,
Yes.
but he's from Finland, boys. It's obviously a huge story
so
there.
he's clearing it up for Finnish people, being like, yeah,
Why
actually,
doesn't he just call somebody in Finland and leave it in Finland?
he's got 34 points in 28 games. He's
So we're
doing
going to see
okay.
a practice fight soon?
I read something. You know what I could have used here, and no, I don't know the context again of the reporter and whatever, but like he said that, and the immediate follow up question was, yeah, and how about this other guy in your team?
Yeah.
Like, can I get a follow up to that one?
Be like, what?
That's the best follow up you could give.
Pardon?
Elaborate.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Who said what? Anyway,
All right. What seems to be a quiet scenario for suspensions in October and November, it heats up. David Perron gets 6 games.
6 games.
Goodbranson gets 1 game.
Can I find you the?
You okay with the 6? And, I think one of the comparables has to go back to Austin Matthews in the outdoor game. That's a while back, though. Is there a
Doesn't matter,
statute
does
of
it?
limitations in terms of when you can compare something? But because it was a fairly significant cross-check that Matthews
Yeah,
put
but
on
it was more-
Rasmus
To me, it was more,
from Buffalo.
I think Matthews earned his 2 on that one, but I don't think there's any comparison in terms of the intent and how malicious they were.
Well, we
Matt-
sat here. Go ahead.
Matthews he got him in the shoulder first and it rode up.
Yeah.
Perron went straight
And
across.
PJ Stock said he
right in-
traveled distance
Yeah.
to make the cross check.
right into his mouth,
Yeah.
right into his face.
PJ yesterday saying like if it's 10 games, he'd be fine with it. The intent to injure is there.
What about the fact that you just
Got the wrong guy.
completely
Yeah,
got
that's-
the wrong guy?
That's a tough one.
It reminded me when we'd drive to Florida every once in a while, and the 3 of us, me and my 2 sisters, would be driving my dad nuts,
Yeah.
and to the point where he's like, he starts swinging his right arm at us, and he says,
I don't care who it hits.
I don't care who it hits. And that's basically what Perron did.
Yeah. It
He
was
pulled it dad.
Yeah, he dad moded and it was unnecessary. So anyway, we on the show yesterday were like, PJ was like, could be 10. I don't care. I thought it was vicious. Didn't like it. Alan Walsh, Perron's agent, he says Department of Player Suspensions, a.k.a. the Kypreos Kangaroo Court, is a media PR entity. Has nothing to do with player safety. Baseball bat swing to player's head. No hearing. He's referring to Trouba, presumably. On Frederick. Perron, 1,100 NHL games without suspension. Zub played the next shift, 6 games. This is a farce, he said.
Perron's never been suspended before.
That's also shocking.
He's a grease bag. I'm surprised that he hasn't been fined, but he's always played on the
I
edge.
think he had a playoff fine. That's it.
Walsh also
Really?
says the violent gentleman is a joke.
Oof.
George Kypreos wears that brand. So, hey, that's not my words.
Alan says it.
He represents his players.
I wouldn't.
Absolutely.
That job George Paris has, first of all, it's the worst job in hockey.
He's the worst job
No
in hockey,
question.
and I think he does a good job. And I know that's not a popular
I think
thing
he
to say.
should.
I like it.
I think they should max out that job at 4 years
It
and
should
keep
be.
it turning,
I 100% agree that it's like
because there is a chance that
president.
you can reset. Well, that's the old guy,
agreed.
but I see
new
it.
standard.
New standard, different standard, fresher
Interesting.
standard.
And also, you can only take
But-
so much abuse from the public.
Here's a question I don't know if you can answer. but would you rather it be stricter? Like, do we want it stricter? Do we want it less strict? Like, I don't know what the thing I want.
I think the people on my Twitter feed, which, a little lefty sometimes, would like to see it stricter.
But
that's my fault.
Hitting out of the game.
Yeah. No hit league.
But I'm pretty fine with the standard, and I think he does a good job.
Yeah, I thought 6 was a good number.
Everybody wants hard hockey and hard hitting and, show me something that I can never envision myself doing.
Dude, we had Mike Gartner on this show who
Calling
said
the game.
he can't watch some of the games because there's not enough of it.
I know.
He's like, there's not enough aggression,
That's
animosity,
when you have to say,
competitiveness.
all right, let's get here. We need plan B.
We gotta. Mike Gartner's
Time
not
for a
into
referendum.
We gotta do something different here.
Yeah.
So 6 games to me. He traveled some distance, bad shot. Sit down. I think he forfeits $150,000. That's a convincer to not do it again.
But yeah, I thought it was a good number. You would care with it, Kip?
Yeah.
Goodbranson got one game, by the way.
But it was just a rule.
Cousins play. Oh, was it a
It was
mandatory?
like it was a mandatory one. Rule 40-something for something.
Listen, early when I covered the NHL retiring, I remember 20 games, 23 games, suspensions.
But Chris Simon also stepped on a man
I
on
think
purpose.
Brad May got suspended, didn't he? Didn't our boy Brad May get suspended 20 games or something?
Rafi Torres was also having a tough time remembering.
Some big numbers.
People.
Cook.
Yeah.
Cook got a lot of long ones.
But I will say, to the credit of the Department of Player Safety, whether it was Shanahan or Kypreos or whoever, we don't see that stuff anymore. Like, almost none of it. You still get these borderline plays you guys get clipped, but game's 10 times cleaner than it was.
Still get the credit it deserves for how clean the game is.
To play the game at this speed in a competitive, physical, whatever, to be as clean as it is I don't think you can ever do better. It's still humans.
To me, though, that's not good.
That's as clean as it is.
Yeah. I mean, like, I love the greasy part of hockey. Some would argue that's the most unique part of it.
Sure.
Cousins hit on Goodbranson, and we heard him talk about it.
I have the quote here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, please do.
He didn't say it to any cameras. He just said it to, I guess, Jeff Swoboda. My kids are 85 feet away from that hit. You know what I mean? It's a terrible hit. I was walking around, pacing through the hallway, trying to calm down back at home. I'm just happy my legs still work. That's the level of danger that was involved with that hit.
That was Goodbranson saying that? Yeah.
Says
I
it's
don't
a
blame
bad
him for
hit.
being that. I hated that play.
He also said, if that hit takes place 3 feet before that, I end up going down and bending my neck.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong.
That's when you get a compression fracture, and who knows how the rest of your life is. And he's not wrong. But the what ifs are the thing that I think scares everybody. So if I take a baseball swing at you on the ice and I miss you, should that be the same penalty as if I hit you?
It's the attempted murder argument. If you shoot a guy and you suck at shooting, you're still got the same intent. You're still...
Yeah. It's a tough one. That's why it's a hard job, and I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, definitely you have to a little bit play the result because, maybe you're trying to scare him with the swing. You can, question some of the intent, but I typically believe that you should penalize the intent, not the outcome. I do think that if Trouba takes that swing and it hits Frederick, you can quibble about whether you think he did it or not, but, just because Frederick's okay doesn't make it any different than if he was concussed. He still clocked him in the head with a stick.
Frederick's such a mutant. Didn't even face it.
In a pit bull.
My first training camp in Philadelphia, Bob Clark's on the ice teaching guys how to take face-offs. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, he gets in first. And then when you come in, you take your blade and you slowly drop it, but start it at the top of his forehead and let it run right by his nose.
On the way down.
Over his lip and by his throat. And then you put your stick down. I'm like, that's some serious intent right there.
Yeah. You're sending a very clear message.
Oh, man.
When I played junior hockey and, it was 2003 or something like that. So 20 years ago, my junior coach used to say that, if you're getting run, to cross-check the guy running you in the face as he's running at you. And he's like, we'll kill that penalty and people will stop running you. Like, this was a part of hockey that was strategized. And now I don't know that those sort of plans ever go into effect. You don't see players doing what you're talking about, sending messages the same way. I think a lot of it's not as intentional.
So
they don't play cleaner.
They don't play again until I think March. If I was Cousins, I'd be like, I got the flu that night.
100%. Good. Branson's got to be top 10 guys in the league. You do not want that.
He is a big mean man.
Yeah.
I'm not going out there against him. It's Coach Hammy.
Hammy day.
It's barking. I can't go.
Were you playing like when the Philly flu and all that was like a real thing? When there were teams that you just literally wouldn't want to go into their building?
Not just at the end of your dad's era. I mean, it was a lot more. Listen, I mean, Dave Brown, Daryl Stanley. There's some kooks in Philly that could make a lot of people nervous, but not that level that we truly saw, I think, late 70s, mid 80s.
Did anyone like that? I should even ask you how you felt as someone going into those games who was asked to sometimes fight. Did you like fighting? Did you feel because those Flyers teams seem to revel in the idea that this was going to be the way it is?
The answer to your question is yes.
Really?
Yes, I like fighting.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm okay from 0 to 7, but once you get me past 7, all bets are off. I mean,
in terms of anger level.
Yeah, in terms of anger level, and I'm okay.
The wires
but the wires really cross at 7 on, and it's I don't care. You need to pull me out on a stretcher. I'm fine with it. I'll give you everything I got.
Yeah.
So, what was the building that you were the most afraid of going into though, when you played?
Back then, probably it was Philly because, Chikrin and Berube. There's some big men there, you knew they knew what their jobs were.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted a video of the 2000 brawl or whatever.
We went and got Cordic because we were getting beat up so bad, and then we had one of the worst brawls in the history of the game, and it was just goofy.
Yeah, the anger, I've never understood the people who get blackout mad and in hockey. I'm I don't have it. I don't have.
People can't stop watching that stuff though.
Well, we watched that. I sent you guys the video. It was Berube who ran the goalie and then gets the flippers off and is first come, first serve, baby.
But then at the other end, the guy that went in and just punched the goalie in the face and then immediately that just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
And I love that stuff.
Okay, what were we talking about?
We are way off course here.
Just totally
no idea.
Suspensions.
Do
we need more suspensions?
Yeah, no, wow.
And the answer
did anyone get suspended in those days?
No.
What do you mean no? The game's just ended? You just committed your war crimes and went home?
There was an ex-NHLer that many of us ex-NHLers did a camp with, Vern Buffy, and he tells us this story when everything went crazy the first 3 or 4 minutes in a hockey game.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy to mark down all the penalties. They just said, okay, everybody go back to the bench. We're going to start this game over again.
I'm packing up. I got to go to my son's Christmas.
Okay,
I love it.
Nobody knows what happened, so let's just start the game over again.
Love it.
I'm that's really a good, smart idea.
Love it.
Okay, our thanks to Arthur Staple from The Athletic and Eric Francis. We're back again tomorrow. Enjoy your games. 10 on tap. Real Kyper and Bourne. Give us a rating and review if you get a chance to. We'd love to hear from you. We're back again tomorrow.